everybody. It's Natalie Hemmens, your favorite Southern California realtor. Today, we will be talking about investing. My special guest is Peter McKernan, who is also a fellow realtor, an investor, and leader of the Cash Flow Investment Group here in Irvine. Peter, welcome.
Natalie, thanks so much. I appreciate you, getting me on your show and hopefully, I can bring you guys some value today.
I'm sure you will. So, for people who don't know you yet, why don't you just kind of talk about yourself and how you got into real estate and the investing world?
Yeah, so it's been a while since I've been in the, investing world. I mean, I started back in 2013. Happenstancely, I got a property. Um, First off, I was going to buy a property in Irvine and realized that it wasn't going to cash flow for the price point and also the income. Granted, the appreciation probably would have been a little bit better than where we bought, but me and a high school roommate at the time were looking for a property to buy. And we ended up buying a place back in Redlands, where we're from. So we bought a rental there. It was the first property back in 2013. Still have that property today and own it with him. So rent has gone up and it's appreciated. And that was kind of the journey, the start of the journey from where I started and then to where I am today. But going through that journey, didn't think I would ever get my real estate license. Didn't really think that real estate was going to be, the thing. And I think I hear a lot of people talk about like they jumped into real estate just on a whim, from, maybe just accidentally falling into it. And that was for sure me because I didn't think, that was kind of this like, hey, we want to buy a property to live in, but ultimately end up buying a rental first. And it was a great investment. Granted, we didn't run any numbers. We didn't know these are things that you definitely need to do when you're looking at investments. Like you talk to a lot of seasoned investors, and they're like, you need to run the numbers. You need to make sure that, it cash flows and it's in a good market and everything else. Honestly, we just bought it, not doing anything, and it's still a great investment today. We have the same tenants in there that we got back in 2013, so they've been in there 10 years. Granted, that's also not the normal story that you hear. Normally, you hear like, we bought a property. It was the first property, and it was a terrible investment, and we never got back into it. So we lucked out on all that stuff, but fast forward to today, like you said, run the Cashflow Breakfast Club. Also, I run a team here in Southern California, and I still invest to this day with passive and also active income.
Wow, well, that's a lot to digest. So, how did you find that first property? How did you come up with the down payment? Can you get into a little of the nitty gritty? Like, was it your income plus your roommate's income plus family income plus grants, loans, all of that?
Yeah, so no grants. It was honestly, I will say this. I was at the time renting a condo with that same guy, and then also two other guys. And me and Seth is his name. We were actually sharing the master bedroom. So we were sharing that primary bedroom, and I think I was only paying rent like $300 a month, which was amazing. And then so we were able to save up quite a bit.
Yeah, the price you had to pay, though. The price you
Yes.
had to
Yeah,
pay.
the price we had to pay. And we were able to save up fairly quickly, and we put, 20% down investment property and just did it on, sure, I guess grit, if you will, of, staying. I mean, being younger, you're able to do that, when you get older, and that's not as comparable to a great
Or
lifestyle, but
appealing to anyone who's looking to date you.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we did that, and then ended up buying that property. We ended up we stayed in that property that we were, in the same room, and ultimately bought another property the next year as well. Just off the ability of, for one, I mean, at the time, the interest rates were still good. I mean, they were mid threes to fours, and we were also able to, work off cash flow still being really good in California. Obviously, it's not so much anymore because, prices have gone up so significantly, but those were things that were working for us at the time. And that's how we were able to get the first one and the second one. And then after that, it was sure, fortitude and grit moving forward, just because, the market's not as good as it was back then. Everybody was buying properties then. It was so easy, especially in California, and that's not the case anymore.
Mhm. So those first 2 were in California. Have you invested out of state before, or all of your properties in California?
No, all of them are in California. I think the only place, if I did look, would be Arizona because I go out there quite a bit. My wife has some family out there, but outside of that, everything is in California. I don't ever look anything outside of California. Granted, I know that comes with a opportunity cost because of how lenient the state is for tenants. But I always personally tell everybody that I talk to, if they're investing in California, run it like a business, as well as you can with, state requirements, and then ultimately you can have that property still be a great asset for you, especially with appreciation and cash flow. So that's all that stuff wrapped up into investing is what you need to do is definitely run it like a business. A lot of people, the people that get into the weeds and ultimately get discouraged, is people that, just like I said before, don't run the numbers, which I didn't, but the second one I did, don't run the numbers. And then also don't, we did actually do I will say this, the one good thing we did on that first tenant was we screened them. I called the landlord, their previous landlords. I verified with, their employer and everything else. So that's one thing you definitely need to do. A lot of people get, in the situation where they meet a friend down the road and they just say, "Hey, move into my rental," because the friend's, down on their luck. And then that friend stops paying. And then they're in this bad situation where they have to evict them. And that's when they never invest again. So that's what you need to do is do your due diligence, run it like a business. And, from there, you'll be in a way better place.
So it seems like you saved up both times with your friends and stuff to purchase the properties. Did you ever leverage the equity in the first and second property to continue purchasing, or did you just kind of leave those equities alone?
Yeah, so the first one we actually did, we held it for a long time. We held it for, 7 years, and then we did a cash out. We didn't really do anything to the property. It just we let it didn't force appreciate it, just let the normal market appreciate. So we cashed out the first one, refinanced it at the same rate back in 2020. Which honestly, if we waited, another year, we probably would have got some more. But we were able to take all our capital out without doing really anything at all outside of maybe some, a water heater here and, some general maintenance every year. But we were able to cash out, take all our money out and then some. So I think we each took out like 50K, and we put, I think starting out we put 20K each in it. So we were able to do that and then go, buy another property, me personally. So after that we kind of pushed in, I got another property without him, and now I'm pretty into ADUs. I know a lot of people are. That's one thing that here in California you can really force appreciate a property and gain more value for the property. It's not going to be like a duplex, but it will increase the property value significantly comparatively to, just doing a normal rehab on the property.
Yeah, that's really good advice. So, do you have property managers that manage these rentals for you, or are you the property manager?
So I'm at a point where I'm starting my own property management company because I've had so many people reach out to me, and then also my properties as well. So I have systems into place that I put. I use Buildium for my properties, which is a property management software online.
Mhm.
Appfolio is another one, but that keeps everything kind of in one place. I've been able to do it, fairly, you know, on my own now, but it's gotten to a point where it's gotten a lot more time intensive, where I would rather do that on the dollar productive activities versus just doing, maintenance calls and stuff like that. So it's to a point where I'm starting to do property management on
I
my
know
own.
you're a realtor now, as I am, and we come across, deals for investment here and there. But you started before you even had your license. So, did you find the properties through realtors, or was it kind of like off market? You bumped into somebody. How did you find them?
Yeah, so I found both properties before I had my license. So the second property, I was in transition of getting my license. I didn't have it by the time we closed, but um, each property I bought, it was two different realtors. Both of them were okay. They weren't amazing, and I know a lot of people have challenges with real estate agents, depending on how good they are, and then we can go through the laundry list of complaints that you've heard people say about agents. But then when you find a good one, and that's really what I wanted to be a good one, and then I thought I was going to save millions of dollars on commission, which is really isn't the case when you're buying properties. You're saving money, but you're not saving millions to buy another million properties. So those are two motivation factors. Is I want to find my own deals, and then also two, I want to be able to save some commission or utilize that commission to save up more money to go do another deal. And then it kind of flourished into helping family and friends, and then ultimately marketing and everything else.
Can you talk about the cash flow investment club? I was privy enough to come to one of the meetings so far. I know there's quite a few coming up. I'm very excited about that. But can you talk about starting that club and what it entails for everybody?
Yeah, so I used to do a monthly meetup just in Irvine, and it wasn't the Cashflow Breakfast Club. It was just a normal meetup where you had a speaker come in and talk for 20 minutes to an hour. And then there's kind of some Q&A. And then after that, there's not really any networking. Well, I'm a part of a group called GoBundance, and I met a guy named Omni, and he basically has done the meetups, which is Cashflow Breakfast Club in his market, which is Vermont. But he wanted to be like the next RIA, if you will. There's a lot of local real estate investing groups, and there's a national one, RIA, and it's really scaled back on their size. But he wanted to implement this because he saw some things that the RIA lacked, and then also he could implement to ultimately join people together on a smaller scale within communities. And that's once he talked about that, I had wanted to restart my investing meetup group, and
Mhm.
that felt like that was a good alignment. So what it is it's a nonprofit, but it's for people that are in the community that want to either partner or just network with other people that are doing deals. I actually just talked to some lady yesterday and talked to her this morning. She wanted to partner with me on a deal in Sierra Madre, which is north of us. And I didn't end up partnering with her, but she found somebody else within the group that she met, and
Nice.
they're doing a deal. So they're doing a flip up in Sierra Madre, and she'll talk about it at the next meeting. But that's ultimately what the cornerstone of what the Cashflow Breakfast Club is. It's like when I used to do the meetups before, you only had a small amount of time to network with people, but this brings people together. And, as you were there a couple months ago or a month ago, we turn around like halfway through it, and 20 minutes is just networking and finding out, what those people are doing. So that brings extra value to the market.
Agreed, agreed. I think that people did not want to stop talking to each other. It
Yeah.
was hard to
Yeah.
get their attention again. They're like, no, 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 I want to know everybody in the room.
Yeah.
It's really great. I love that. So I know that you have a bunch of different channels and ways that people can get in touch with you. So if someone wanted to reach out with you, to partner with you, or to follow some of your real estate updates, how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can obviously Google Peter McKernan, but I have a podcast myself. It's Real Estate Trends and Market Updates. And then also, you can find me on YouTube. Just search Peter McKernan. I have, hopefully, I can get this from you, but I'll have this up there. And then all the other interviews that I do and smaller clips that I'll do as well, just about the market and other things that you need to know about investing, as well as, if you're trying to find a real estate agent. So, all those things included will be on the YouTube channel when you find me.
Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else that you want to add um, to this community who is probably looking to do investing?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the first time you showed up at Cashflow Breakfast Club, you talked about a deal, right? In Irvine.
Mhm.
So these types of scenarios, as being a person that for you is trying to hold value to their clients and everything else. You're a a pinnacle of what a agent should be is not only knowing, hey, I can send you a link to properties that are coming on the market, but I'm also I have a big network that we can get some off market deals too, right? So I think that that's, what you need to look for as you look across, like I had mentioned before, an agent is you need to find an agent that's going to be able to, yeah, sometimes agents are going to have 50 off market deals. That's going to be kind of more so a wholesaler, but they will have off market opportunities. On the same token of that is they'll also walk you through the process. Usually a wholesaler doesn't walk that person through the process. So even though you want a great deal, what I've found on people that are first time buyers or, they bought in three properties, but they're still very skittish is the wholesaler route may not be a full, look for you as a buyer or an investor. And I think that that's one thing that if you can take away from this podcast is you need to find that agent that's going to walk you through from A to Z on escrow,
Education.
finding, sorry.
The education part of it,
Yes.
yeah, being informed about all aspects of the transaction, yeah.
Yeah, 100% because, like you've you're dedicated to your client and you're also able to add that value to that client specifically on just not only the front end of the transaction, hey, here's a property, but the back end too, like, hey, you need to do this, like this is what I would do in the inspection and stuff like that. So a lot of people hear these off-market deals and everything else and that's great, right? But even, those people that are looking for off-market deals are very skittish even after, investing a couple of times. And you need to be that person as an agent that's listening to this and an investor, you need to make sure that you're working with someone that really knows, the area, the value add of the property, and then also, knows the back and forth on a contract too, because you can lose earnest money deposit, and you want to make sure that you're not a one and done investor. You want to make sure you're a lifelong investor.
Yeah, and that you can use your first deal to help fund the second or the third and continue on your journey. I would say, from what I've seen, some of your first investments are the most important to be able to set yourself up for the future and for confidence too. Like you said, you get burned on the first deal and you might be one and done. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many times where, you talk to someone and they, most more times than not, you're hearing bad information and also bad stories that happen to landlords and people that own properties versus good, right? I mean, you hear every once in a while, oh yeah, hey, Frank, has 1,000 units, but if you hear Joanne bought a property and she, just like I talked about earlier, didn't vet the person, moved the person in right away, didn't care, just got the rent because they needed to make the mortgage payment. That's when, when you're working out of scarcity, you're in a situation where you're putting someone into place or, you're doing something as an investment that is supposed to be lifelong. Think about a 401k and everything else. You need to do this as a lifelong investment. Even if you're gonna, sell it in 5 years, you still want to be profitable and you don't want to be in a situation where you're gonna put yourself in a bad place. So really work with those professionals like yourself and throughout the process. There's legitimate wholesalers out there too that will walk you through the process, but make sure you find those people and you're doing your own analysis and also you're double checking with people like yourself that are very professional and will know what's going on versus just, going on a whim.
Excellent advice. Well, I know that you're available to help anyone who's looking to get into investing, as am I. So, guys, if you are interested, you can reach out to either one of us. And if you just want more information, I would highly suggest going to Peter's cash flow investment group. It's a lot of fun and it's a way to get your feet wet with it's free. There's no cost except for your time, and there's a lot of benefit to be gained from that. So
I will say one thing. It is free, but at the same time, it's not. You gotta network with people. I know in general, not a lot of people, even myself, doesn't like to network with a lot of people. I'd rather, just, hang out at home and not talk to people. But you came on
what?
here.
You're a realtor and you want to hang out at home?
Well, I'd rather be, I'm more introverted than extroverted, but I would say, you have to be a little bit out there, in front of people to find that partner or find that investor and find that person like you, that's going to be able to say, yeah, this is I got an off market deal or whatever that may be. Because if you're sitting at home and you're just, surfing bigger pockets, you may find one or two connections, but you need to meet those people in person to really dig in and find out if it's the right person to partner with or, use as a realtor and everything else.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Peter. Have an amazing day, an amazing week. And yeah, I'll be sharing this video with you too, so you can share it with your network.
Perfect. Natalie, I appreciate you having me on today.
All right, have a good day.
Thanks, you too.